What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today is October the 29th. I want to give you a quick pre-market update, go over some of the hot movers and what big money is doing today. Before I get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So starting off with data, we do have later in about an hour jobs openings coming out. 7.8 mil is that forecast. In the past, that's caused a lot of volatility, especially based on Powell's comments. So Powell stated that labor data is more important than GDP. Very bold statement to make, but nonetheless, we do have that data coming out at 9 a.m. Futures are looking somewhat mixed, so down 0.07 for the NASDAQ, 0.13 for S&P, and Dow is down 0.34. So I think a lot of that has to do with larger companies unveiling the earnings, not necessarily going according to plan. But as of right now, though, fear and greed index is under the greed category, so meaning people's appetite for risk is on the table. And in my opinion, I think the key ones that were going to be unveiling the earnings did do fairly a-okay. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see how the market does really interpret all of that. But yours truly, SOFI, did have so far a double beat. So beat on earnings per share as well as revenue. I believe that the conference is going on right now, so we'll just have to wait and see for what the future guidance does, kind of what they say for that. But it looks pretty good so far. So shorts most likely will be returning. At least that would be the logical thing to do. 16.97% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 177.54 million shares. So historically, SOFI does always beat on their earnings, and then it always just sells off, whether it be because of shorts or just some analysts coming out and giving $4 price targets. So again, we'll just have to see how this all does play out. But so far, $11.99 has been the high for the pre-market, so it does want to go up, so we'll just have to wait and see. But right now, with it at $11.51, it is right above this R1, so 11.47 will be a key pivot for SOFI today. Aside from that, 13.19 and then 15.96. That's if it does kind of break out. DJT once again is getting a immense amount of volume, so currently up like 20%. So this once again goes back to this, so people's appetite for risk is very much there. And this at the same time is somewhat heavily shorted, so 22.66% of the free float is being shorted. They have been returning, so over the last several days you've seen short interest go from roughly 24.82 to where it is now, so shorts are returning. So I anticipate that type of activity to happen with SOFI. And right now it's gone up so much so fast in a short time period, because over the last 1 month it is up 203.07%. So it's well above all the key fib levels. So I'm not going to waste your time going over that. But moving on, Ford. So Ford did have, this is a good example of a large entity that did have okay earnings but gave bad future guidance. This is why future guidance is very important for stocks nowadays. And so Ford did beat on their earnings per share as well as their revenue, but their future guidance wasn't good, and they're burning through a lot of money through EVs. So potentially, based on what Elon's comments were, most likely Ford, I could see others just completely scrapping EVs until probably the end of the decade. We'll just have to wait and see. But Ford's not heavily shorted, so 2.55% of the free float is being shorted. Shorts have been actually returning out of Ford for a while, so I think today might be the day that they start to kind of pounce once again. But we'll just have to wait and see how that does play out. But Ford definitely is in the squeeze play. And just in case you are new to the channel, I bring this up more so for analysis purposes, not because any of these stocks are a squeeze play. So just be aware of that. But right now with that $10.59, it is trading between this S1 and the pivot. So 10.67 will be that strong pivot for Ford today, so you really need to watch for it to get above that. Flip side, 10.22 is going to be the following support. So yeah, just take note of that. And then aside from that, if it does kind of move higher, 11.12 will be the next strong resistance / target. I don't see that being touched whatsoever today. but what do I know? My crystal ball is sometimes wrong. So NIO is up once again. So there's a couple of driving factors that's pushing it higher, one of which is this right here. So the Chinese central government aims to promote electric vehicle purchases. So that is adding a fairly good level of support. At the same time, NIO's technicals are really moving higher, and then NIO also has a catalyst coming out on Friday, and then at the same time it's heavily shorted. So even right now, pre-market shorts are returning 1.08 million shares. 14.29% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 190.88 million shares overall are being shorted. So yeah, I can see logically shorts continuing to return as what they have done over the last 2 days. So we'll just have to wait and see. But right now, with that $5.98, it's trading between this S1 and the pivot. So $6.12 is going to be that strong pivot. And of course, that'll be kind of the target initially. And if it is able to get above that, then it could trade up to the R1. But I don't know. NIO is a very hard stock to predict. It's does what it wants sometimes, and then initially during power hour and at the beginning of the day, you have shorts very active, so you kind of have them trying to manipulate it to the best of their ability. But nonetheless, I think NIO's technicals is pointing for it to hit this R1 at least sooner rather than later. And then of course, ticker MARA, so it is up 2.32%, but despite that, you're getting a lot of volume, and that's because of Bitcoin's running like a madman, and that once again is linked to this. So cryptocurrency and just fear and greed index very much correlated. So with people's appetite for risk on the table, they usually go to crypto. So something to keep in mind, but miners are benefiting. And of course, this is a very heavily shorted stock. So 26.04% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 75.04 million shares. Despite Bitcoin running up, like shorts have been kind of lingering around with this stock. So I don't anticipate them to be willing to fully get out today. They might be calling the bluff and actually increasing, but we'll just have to kind of just watch. But with it right now at $19.39, it is trading between this R2 and R3. So in comparison to a lot of other growth stocks, it is doing rather a-okay. 1902 will be a strong support that you'll want to watch for it to hold. I don't anticipate that to be touched today. Rather, I think the actual good momentum is on the table for the stock. Technicals are looking fairly good as well. So it might actually be touching this R3, not today, but most likely later this week with a lot of other data points coming out. So most likely it's just going to trade within this set range. But let me know your thoughts. Do you own any of these stocks? Is there any other stocks that you are kind of watching? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. Take advantage of this promo because it gives you 8 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. So that's a kick-ass deal. Link in the description below and also the comments. And I did launch memberships. So if you like my channel, want to support the growth, you can definitely do so by joining as a member. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.